All right, here is the speedrun of the Excel Esports case Hopscotch. I'm going to start by making a name range for this. We'll just call it SH for simple hopscotch. So x2 calls the lambda that gives me the address and then the value, which in this case I'm going to call space, right? You're hopping on a space. All right, so spaces, I just want to make this an array, right? So there's an array. Now I want to say what's the trip backwards, right? You go out 1 to 10 and then you go backwards a certain number, right? So it's a sequence where it's the number of hops forward you did minus 2 starting at the second row, right? So I take that sequence and then I choose rows of this array by that sequence. And then I use a lambda to reverse it. Right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then after 10, you go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then the cycle starts over again. Right? So here is the cycle of spaces. Is V stack this and this. Right? So that's the cycle, and then I'm going to do this a bunch of times, right? So I should use like a reduce or something, but I don't know. This is kind of faster, right? V stack A. Boom. All right, bunch of those, and put the close parenthesis there. So now I take what the index of this by here. And there's level 1. Level 2, I've got to add the point, right? So I just copy this over to points. And I know these are by color, right? 3, 6, and no, not 9, 10. Right? So I use my fill color subroutine. If you're interested in these subroutines or lambdas, see the links in the description. Points, right? So address lookup, points, exclamation. Oh no, I'm going to put it over here. Points, right? So equals points sheet address lookup, which is basically just non-volatile indirect. So points, simple hopscotch, and I'm looking up cell E4, right? And that tells me the number of points. So over here for each one, I got to look up this is all one thing, right? So I can do it like that. Look up this on the space, returning on the points. So now, and then I need total points, right? So the cumulative version of this is just the sum of U32 U $32. That will be the total points, and then it's just the index of that is the answer to level 2. All right, so for level 3, we're going to do some skips, right? Let me move this over a little bit here. So skip is, I use my exists lambda, which just checks using xmatch, right? If this exists on here, not the points, but the space number. So if we're supposed to skip it, then we skip it. And now this is, filter this by if it tells you not to skip it, then we do that. And now we've got trip forward and trip back. And that's it for level 3. Level 4, we're going to do the rows, right? So now for each row number is going to be, I can find the row number based on only numbers of this, right? So this just pulls out the numbers from this. And then now, instead of spaces, what I actually want is rows. So filter the row number by skipping equals 0, and then unique it. Right, so those are the rows I'm going to go to. Now this is going to be filter well, no, I got to do this row by row, right? So equals filter the space number, right, by the row number equals this, right? And this stuff's F4 to lock it. So now I should have this, except for you see it can't put 2 in one place, right? So I do save array, which is just text join, right? Save array is text join, load array is text split. So now I've got 4 and 5 here, right? So you hop 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. So first, I'm going to make this a clean array, right? Also here. So I'm going to clean this up with x2call, which just clears out the errors and gives me the addresses, which I don't want. So no addresses this time. And then the trip back is based on this array, right? Like this. And I do have to make sure I'm not skipping these also, which technically doesn't matter for this level, but certainly will matter for the next level. So this and skip also has to be 0, right? Just so I don't forget to do that while I'm thinking of it. All right, so now the points is going to be a little bit more complicated, right? Because I got to, instead of just looking it up, right, I'm going to sum XLOOKUP of load array of this on here, locked, returning, here, locked. Let's see, where's my guide here? There we go, right? So 10 plus 6 is 16, right? So this is the number of points. That is the total points. Let me make sure I've got the cycle. I do not have the cycle, right? Because it is this array, right? Now the number of points is right, so I got to track the foot. So for feet, I'm going to use foot in and then foot description, right? So foot in can be either 1, 2, or both. The description is going to be if foot 1 is right, then I need right hyphen, otherwise left hyphen. And this is the exact opposite of that, right? So if this equals left, then that and that. This is always both hyphen. So start on foot 1. Ifs, so count substring, this has a delimiter in it. That means that it's both, so B. Otherwise, if the one above it is a number, then it's just that number again, because you stay on the same foot. If the one above it is a number, then it's the opposite foot. So 3 minus that foot, 3 minus 1 or 2 gives you the other one, right? So that, and then the other possibility is if number, the one above it. And this is, I need this because of the possibility of having 2 in a row. It's also 3 minus, if there's 2 boths in a row, I need to look up one more, like this. So this should go on 1 foot, then both, then 2, then both, then 1, then both, then 2, then both, etc. So I look up, I do index, right, of the feet by G26. And this is the foot number, but I got to look up the description, right? So I look up the number on here, returning here. There's level 4. All right, level 5, we've got our skips in here, right? So the skips are now based on this. 4 is supposed to be getting skipped. Why is 4 not getting skipped? Because I didn't lock that. And that's good for level 5. Level 6 just adds the multipliers, right? Which is just, if this equals right, the right multiplier is 3, right? Otherwise 2. And then if this equals 3, then 2, otherwise 3. And then the both multiplier is always 6. So multiplier is X lookup of the foot number on the foot numbers returning multipliers. So this is now, base points. This is points 2 is the multiplier times the points. And then the total points is now based on points 2 instead of the base points. And that should be 6 levels so far, right? 780 sounds like the right number of points. Good. All right, so level 7, now we're doing World Cup Hopscotch. So I'm going to call this range here World Cup Hopscotch. And I'm going to need points also, right? So I create a copy here, points underscore 2, get rid of the numbers, and instead bring in the numbers from the key here, right? So I just take these, right? If I paste values and use fill color, that will give me all the points in the right place. So now this is based on World Cup Hopscotch. The points is based on World Cup Hopscotch of points 2. Right. The skip is based on this. The rows is the same here, right? So I should just bring this down to here. Row 231 is as far as I end up. So this now has to go to 231 and 231. Keep putting in 231, so it checks all the way down. That has to go potentially even a little farther, right? Like that. Let's go all the way to 231, which is overkill. Right? And then this one now goes to 231 and cleans it up and makes the trip back. So I go, to 200, then after 200 is 199 all the way back to 2, and then we start over with 1. So the cycle should be good now. Base points just has got to look up farther. Except for the base, but now sometimes there's 3, and I got to pick the best 2 out of 3. So instead of summing these, I'm going to save array. All right. So now, well, what happened? All right, that happened. And that happened. So now here, right? So 8 and 9 is worth 3 and 6. So here, right? If you step on, when you jump on space, whoa, something went wrong. There we go. When we jump on this space, it's worth 6, 10, and 3, but you only get the top 2 out of 3. So equals, load array of this. So there's 6, 10, and 3. And I'm going to sort it descending. So I'm going to put the top best 2 on top. Then I take 2 rows and 1 column, and I sum it up, and that should be 16, right? So that's this, except I also have to worry about what if there's not 2, what if there's only 1? So if it's a number, then just U121, otherwise all that, right? So that should be the correct number of points. Base points. This is now points 2, so this is going to be points 3 when I bring in the multiplier, right? So that times that. I got to make sure all these get copied down super far, right? So all of this, because I got to go down like 2,000 hops for some of this. That's 7,000, which is plenty. These have got to go. These indexes have got to look super far. And that's it. Level 7 is done. It's going to take a second to calculate. All right, there are our answers, and we have 1,000 points. All right, at what point do you get exactly 1,000-point score? So X match 1,000 on the total points. This is what happens on the 1,000th hop. So that is index this of 1,000 if there are 1,000. There's not 1,000. So here I'm going to make this even longer. How about this? How about we make that A and then we make the answer? How about we make that? Not, can't use A again, obviously. Make that B. Now I V stack B, 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 B. Now it's going to be super long, right? So if I go down to where this stops and then make that longer and make this go down however long I need, now it's long enough. Same thing with level 4. Do I have 1,000 here? No, I do not. So I'm going to use the same bonus formula here and make sure this goes down far enough to, these all got to go down with it. So now the index of level 4, the 1,000th hop, level 4 rules. What is your score after 1,000 hops? There is level 4 starting at here, going down to here. Oh, come on, guys. Level 4, what is your score after the 1,000 top? Something must be missing. Is this the right cycle, first of all? Nope, it's not. Because it's got to be... Oh, because I copied the formula, that's why. All right, yep, it's this and this. That is the correct formula. There we go. All right, and how many games was the final the same as the starting, right? So, so you know, the answer is here, right? So I put the answer here, and I do if the left of the input foot equals the left of the answer foot, then 1, otherwise 0. And this is longer now because I made it super long. That's why I didn't make it as long the first time, because I didn't want to slow myself down too much. All right, so that's level 4, and then level 5, we'll do the same thing. Actually, I could have done this based on the case sheet. That would have been better. All right, well, next time I'll do it based on the case sheet. If the left of this equals the left of that, then 1, otherwise 0. Yeah, definitely should have done this based on the case sheet. Anyway, add those up, 22. All right, highest number of left foot hops within a game. Okay, so left hops is, well, I got to do, so foot is X, look up this on here, returning here. So left foot is if this equals left, then 1, otherwise 0. And then the total left foot hops is the sum of this, AB $32. Whoops. Then the index of this by the total number of hops, whatever that is. It's right there. And then I need the most of these, so I got to calculate them all, which just takes a second. Hopefully it'll just take a second. We're close. There's a lot of hops. I'm going out to like 8,000 here when I really only need 2,000. There we go. And then the max of this is 819. Thanks for watching. Bye.